All right, friends, it's Tina back with another video on JasonBlaha. You know who, man. The fitness, the lifting, gym slave, diet slave, fitness slave, whatever slave, you name it, bro. He's that slave, bro. So, the vegan slave, yeah. Lifting slave. Gym slave. Well, look at that face he's putting out, eh? It's just incredible, man. Look at that face. Ah, the body, man. It's just so aging. Let's review this video. It's training volume required to make great gains for most lifters. Really? Training volume to make great gains. Okay, let's see if that's true. All right.
What is the minimum volume I would start most people at for lifting?
Is that for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Great gains, volume? Remember what I told you before, what volume is equated to. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Yeah, man.
I'm going to say about 10 sets per muscle a week. And that would be a combination of your multi-joint and single joint. And with some of that, I would even say be careful how much you count your multi-joint. Two muscles that don't get the best stimulus.
I'll explain this. Okay, he's doing the lat area. Maybe it's some stretch there, pulling the scapula apart. This is a concentric exercise. This is not damaging muscle fibers. This does not damage muscles. So what is he getting doing high volume concentric exercises? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's associated with that. Trust me, it is. He's adapted doing these things. He's not unaccustomed to doing this. He's adapted to doing this exercise.
From it. What do I mean by that? I don't know that a bench press is...
Look, we know that anything that you do that you're unaccustomed to, for the first time if you do it, it will be associated with widespread muscle damage. But after that, when you're accustomed, there's no more damage. But what exercises cause damage? Well, it's the eccentric. The eccentric causes it. What does the concentric do? Nothing. It's not associated with damage. So what is associated with when you are a chronic lifter lifting in the gym and you're saying you're building muscle in a gym, which is crazy with like reps. 10 reps will build a muscle. What kind of muscle are you building? Sarcoplasmic. It's high volume training. When he says high volume training, I can prove it, and I'll even prove it in this video.
It's an amazing tricep builder when you use a grip that is very conducive to building your pecs. Okay?
A grip that is conducive to building your pecs? A grip? What?
I also don't know that a barbell row is a particularly good bicep builder. And that's based...
Barbell row is a bicep builder? No weights can build a muscle. They damage muscles. Let's explain this scientifically and intelligently. Weights do not build muscles. Not myofibular, at least. Maybe some artificial muscles, artificial gains, but not real muscles, bro. You already know this. What do they build? What does it build? How does a rep build a muscle? What the hell is he talking about, man? He's got to be really totally insane.
On the research and my own experience. I mean, look at me, for example. I got my back really massive doing tons of rows and then later some pull-ups and things.
What? Look at me. Look at my back. I got it huge doing tons of rows. Tons of what? He's lying to you. He's got a disease, bro. You understand? He's diseased. He's got kyphosis. Look at his back. It's this right here. It's an increased front to back curvature of the spine. It's called kyphosis. It looks like this. See this guy here with his, see how his back is pumped out there? What is kyphosis? Kyphosis is known as hunchback. This is generally referred to as the recessive forward curvature of the upper back of the body. Notice how the back area sticks up here, his head, his neck is going. It's kyphosis. He suffers from kyphosis. Look at his back. Look at his back. It's kyphosis, bro. It's kyphosis.
But my biceps lagged in spite of the fact that at a certain point, like pen leg rows, you guys...
His biceps lag because he doesn't know what he's doing. He sucks as a coach.
See me move some monstrous weights.
See his back? It's kyphosis. His neck, head, it's kyphosis. And he's quite fat here. He's got kyphosis.
High reps.
See that? Look at his neck hanging in his head. It's kyphosis.
And look at...
See the hunchback. Look. See the hunchback? See the hunchback here? Yeah. This is kyphosis. This is kyphosis, bro. See that? That's kyphosis. That's what your coach suffers from. Plus, this high volume stuff, what he's talking about, I've mentioned this in numerous videos. They explain that here too as well. They explain this here. As you can see, it's explained right here. PubMed. Here we go. 6 weeks of hypertrophy training response to 6 weeks of high volume resistance training. Trained young men is largely attributed to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. You see, you want to know why they don't say in untrained young men? Because if you're untrained is associated with what? Muscle damage. Untrained is associated with muscle damage. Anything that you've done that you're untrained to doing, or unaccustomed, should I say unaccustomed? Unaccustomed or untrained people get damaged. Trained young men get what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Why is that? Because they're doing the eccentric movements and they're adapted. They're chronic lifters. Yeah, it's glycogen loading, sarcoplasmic. So that's what he's getting. That's why he's saying he's building muscle. You're building sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. That isn't based on contractile proteins. That's based on glycogen or sarcoplasmic proteins. That's what it's based on. Yeah. Yeah, because how should I put this? I don't know if I can find this now because I'm on here, so it's hard to do this all the time. See, unaccustomed exercise or untrained, unaccustomed is the same thing. Okay, so untrained exercise consisting of eccentric eye lengthening muscle contractions often result in what? Muscle damage. It often results in muscle damage. So when they did that test, that they didn't do it on people that were untrained. They did it on trained individuals. And what do trained individuals get? Trained people that are chronic lifters. That's what they mean by trained. They mean chronic lifting people that are trained coming into the gym. What do they get? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, bro. Get it? Yeah, man. You understand me? Yeah, that's right. So what is that? What is untrained people? What do they get? Well, this muscle damage characterized by ultrastructural alterations in muscle tissue. Clinical signs and symptoms: reduced muscle strength and range of motion, increased muscle soreness and swelling. You understand me? What the muscle damage is associated with? You can get damage through unaccustomed, untrained, unaccustomed people, untrained people, and you can get damage through eccentric exercises. But if you're adapted, you're still adapted. You can't get that. So it takes on a secondary shift called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. You understand, man? What is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? It's a kind of what? Artificial muscle growth. You train the muscle for no other reason than to visually increase the size through fluid. Yeah, not the density of the muscles. Now what? Increases the density of the muscles. Muscle damage and progenitor cells and myotubes and everything else. Okay? So that's what it does, broski. Yeah, bro. That's what it does, man. Yeah. That's kind of like what it does, bro. Where were we? I think I lost the spot.
Want a gambling?
Damn, there's a commercial on there.
But I neglected curls.
Did you hear what he said? I moved some monstrous weights. Now look at my back. That's what he just said. That's insane, bro.
Monstrous weights for high reps. And look at my back. Okay. But I
His back is kyphosis.
neglected curls, mostly because I was powerlifting.
Hunchback.
And again, disproportionate development. So I would be very, very leery with some of that. Just an FYI.
How can you equate kyphosis, hunchback, as being like, oh, I have this back or whatever, sexy back? What are you talking about? It's crazy.
But what do I mean? I would say, 10 sets. If you're a novice, oftentimes more novice-y, that 10 sets can be largely the same exercise. If you're a little more advanced, I would split it up. I am personally a big fan, and I think for most guys, real close to optimal volume would be about 3 sets. Each major body part from 2 different exercises done on an upper lower each, so about 12 total. But I think 10 is a good baseline. I have never...
Well, I'm so confused watching this guy.
First seen anyone who trains decently hard on good programming fail to make gains on 10 sets. Okay.
Failed to make gains on 10 sets. Well, if they're not eating enough glycogen, if they're not eating enough carbohydrates, complex, of course, that's the best one. That's the one that works. Loads in there. They're not eating enough of that. Well, then they're not going to make any gains, bro. Get it? You understand me? You're not going to make any gains. That's why nobody's making gains in the gym. They've reached, natty limit, genetic limit, and hard gainer. Yeah.
Some people make faster gains than others, and I've also seen guys make phenomenal gains on 10.
You have, eating glycogen, depending on how much they're eating, because glycogen synthesis must exceed that breakdown as well to build up. What did you think, man? It was just going to build up by itself eating candy bars all day?
Sets. And phenomenal. I'm talking drug-free guys benching.
Look at him. He's flat. He's not even eating enough glycogen. Eat more glycogen, dude.
Over 300, squatting over 400. And who were pretty big and thick, like getting them to that point from below it. In fact, I'll get down to the
He looks like a little man here, doesn't he?
breakdown.
Look at him. He looks like a little man sitting there like a talking doll, like a little man, a little guy. He's a little dude.
More, but I would say a perfect example. I had a drug-free guy I coached for about 10 months a year. Obviously a big guy. He wasn't
He had a drug-free guy he would train 10 months. This guy just making up stuff as he goes along.
super lean by any means. He ate a lot and was over 200 pounds, but we got him all the way up to a 500 squat and
He ate a lot. He was over 200 pounds. So what?
I believe a 325 bench. All raw, no wrist straps, no sleeves.
Man, young people, teenagers are benching over 315. What are you talking about, bro? This guy's
I
crazy.
think, he wore a belt. So pretty raw, pretty respectable lifts and a real big, thick guy. By most standards, doing about 10 sets total per muscle. Any extra focus we really did was for stuff like triceps, because he really struggled with triceps. They held his benching back a lot. Like we put 50 pounds on his bench just by focusing on triceps, with a minimum of other stuff. Like speed benching plus, 3 sets of benching on his, or floor press on his max effort day. But his total volumes per week were around 10 total sets, right, for most muscles. And he made those sort of gains just fine. I've also had plenty of other lifters do that. And I feel like I should make a separate video on what I think the minimum volume someone could do, because that's a different topic, because that requires training extremely hard, and very careful exercise selection. But the 10 sets is good.
Extremely hard, bro. You gotta train extremely hard, yes.
And examples could be, for more novice lifters, these can be just big movements. And I'm talking simple. So if you're going to do an upper-lower, which is usually what I recommend, so 2 upper body days, 2 lower bodies, you could literally get away with 5 sets of bench on each day. Get away with 5 sets of rows on each day. All right? 5 sets of squats, 5 sets of good mornings. And then do a little deadlifting, and then obviously a little arm work or delt work or whatever is needed for that person, right? Because a lot of novices, they really like their arm work. I'm very likely
Man, that voice is so annoying. It's so feminized.
to give a novice, because of grip needs and everything, though, who really wants some arm work, I'm very likely to throw hammer curls at them.
Yes, just throw in some hammer curls and throw in these, but don't do any partial reps where you could actually go really heavy and focus on the eccentric, because you could go extremely heavy, especially using a cable machine. If your cable machine goes to 300, trust me, you'll be sticking on a 45-pound plate on that 300 pounds on top of it, and you'll still find it's not heavy enough, and you'll probably want to slap on another 45-pound plate, because you were able to pull that weight towards you in a partial range of motion, focusing more on the eccentric movement, eccentric. Get it? The down motion. You are pulling up a bit, but you're mostly focused on the eccentric part. Not on the concentric where you're dragging it all the way to your fucking shoulders, bro. Get it? You won't be able to lift all that weight. But you will be able to pull it so far that you could keep pulling it down on the stretched motion so that you can fucking get more damage in the bicep and fucking grow them after. Go home to go to the buffet and fucking grow them after.
Just an FYI. As opposed to a barbell early on, a lot of it.
Like I said, if you're not willing to go all out, to move, to break these things, the bonds, the chains of these bonds of this fucking lifting slavery, then how the fuck could you progress? How can any of you progress? You haven't broken the chains of lifting slave. Get it? Gym slave.
I do really well with just a hammer curl. Because
Adapted slave. I should call this guy adapted slave.
like to get their grip up for the rows and the deadlifts. That works really, really well.
No more adaptations, zero adaptations, fully adapted. Coming in, wearing himself out.
And just get your 10 sets. For people who if they want 10 sets to other I would not do a bunch of barbells for that stuff. It would be broken down into other lifts, like maybe 3 sets of one compound and then 2 sets of another. So, I mean, a perfect layout. Let's say someone who's more of an intermediate lifter, what might I do? If I want to give them around 10 sets and they just kind of want that minimum, it might be 3 sets of flat bench and then, a couple sets of dumbbell or incline after. Okay, so that we work some different angles for the chest. Ideally, I'd like to give them a vertical pull and a horizontal pull. If they're strong enough to do pull-ups or chin-ups, we might do 3 sets of those and a couple sets of rows of some type, dumbbell, barbell. If they're not strong enough for that, I'm going to put probably a little more focus on rows, maybe 3 sets of that, and then some flat pull downs, if they have that at their gym.
If they're not strong enough for that, I'll give them these pull downs and this and that. I told you, poor coach, man. He's not focused on eccentric.
If I'm going to work with what's ideal. Okay, so what have we done here? We've worked all these different angles. We've got 5 sets of 2 different exercises, because again, as we get more advanced, we need that exercise.
You're getting more advanced. You're not getting advanced. You're adapted. You're not advanced. You're just getting better at doing these movements. That's all.
Exercise variation. Then I'm obviously going to throw some arm and shoulder work at them. Usually people at that level, unless they're...
He's going to throw in some arm and shoulder work. Yes, coach. I'm so wanting to do the arm and shoulder work that you have waiting. You have waiting for me. Yes, coach. Yes, coach. Make me big and strong, coach. You're amazing. Yes.
Focusing really hard on chin.
Goddamn, coach. You're the best coach in the world. I love you, coach, man. Can I send you some flowers, too?
Ups as a primary, they're going to need bicep work.
They're going to need some bicep work. They're definitely going to need a lot of work, bro, yes.
But we don't need a lot because we're already getting really some sets with the other stuff.
Oh, the other stuff? You're getting sets with the other stuff? Oh, what stuff is that? Okay.
At that point, I'm probably going to throw some curls in, some tricep extensions.
Oh, you're gonna do that. Okay, that's nice.
If arms are a particular weakness for them, it's going to be like five sets, so that we get 10 actual sets of direct work of each one. If they're not as big of a weakness and they're more balanced.
Oh, okay. I like how he's throwing the weight up. Look at that. You picking up a weight and throwing it. What do you think that's doing to your back? What do you think that is doing to your back?
Maybe 3 sets of an extension, 3 sets of a curl, and then we're going to do some shoulder work or whatever. But at that point, you're looking at what's their weak links.
Watch him throw the weight up in the air too. Here, watch. These are all concentric exercises. He's throwing the weight up in the air. Watch.
All right, we're looking at what are their weak links, where are they weakest at.
He's swinging it. You see what I mean? This is what I try to explain to you. He's just swinging the weight. He's going like this, swinging it up and down. It's a lazy exercise. Now, if he swung it up, but he brought it down really slow, that could be considered a eccentric movement exercise. Even going slow on the downforce. But he's not doing that. He's swinging it. He's just throwing them up and down, just like he did the barbell row for the back. And then he tries to convince you, hey, I have kyphosis, a disease. I'm a hunchback. But guess what? That's how I built my back, throwing this weight up and down. Why do you think his arms are not growing? He tried to convince you, well, I threw the weights up for my back. That's why my back is big. Meanwhile, it's kyphosis. But he's throwing the same weights for his arm, complaining why his arms are not growing. They're not growing because they're not damaging. If you're not damaging, they're not growing. It's really simple. If they're not damaging, they're not going to grow. There's nothing for your body to grow if there's nothing fucking damaged there.
Now, some of that will change if we take it up to higher sets, 12 sets, because if we do 3 and 3, we're getting a little more work all the way through on everything. Lower body stuff, combinations of squats and leg presses.
Again, he's throwing them. Look at him, throwing the weights. Man. Shit coach.
Squat, single leg exercises. The main thing is get to that 5 sets. And if they're starting to get to a certain point.
At least some people have some sense in the gym. They use these things where they put their arm over and then they just do it really, they try to do it really slow on the downforce, sometimes slow going up as well. Because they're not really sure. They're not really sure because nobody's ever coached them. They don't understand the exercises still. They just came into a gym. They saw everybody else lifting these weights. There's a machine. They do this. This guy's doing rows, bench press. So I should do all the same things too like they're doing. No, you'll need to find your own path and figure out how it truly works.
Unless they love squats, I don't have my lifters do a lot of squatting. One top set.
Listening to him, I just want to throw him out. Throw him out the window.
Or a training max, and then we can go right into machine work or single leg exercises. And I train a lot of lifters that way with big squats.
Oh, I train these guys, big squats, and then I get them, and then I get the lifter, and then I get him to do a lot of squats, I get him to do a lot of this, and I get him to do a lot of that. But it isn't geared specifically to do specific things. Just get him to do a lot of this and to do a lot of that. Yeah, okay, coach.
Most people, I don't ever have them do more unless they're doing speed pulls more than one set of deadlifts.
Speed pulls, deadlifts, like, fuck, man, this guy's really out.
We fill in the rest of the posterior chain with RDLs, good mornings, direct hamstring work, right? Reverse hypers, whatever they have access to.
Reverse hypers, LDLs, what are these fucking fancy words, man? You think fancy words are gonna build your body? Crazy.
If they care about calves, do some calves in there as supersets. But
do some calves, do some supersets. Have you ever used the cable machine to do your calves? Have you ever taken the weighted belt with the chain and then chain it up to one of these machines with the cables and start doing the bottom force, not the up force, but the bottom force. And so do that, the cable machine. Have you ever done that? Have you ever tried that? I know. You were on a standing machine doing a concentric exercise, right? You're doing concentric on the machine. But have you ever tried doing it with a cable machine? No, you've never tried that. You'll do everything weighted concentrically, but you won't go over to the fucking cable machine and strap down to it and do your calves with the cable machine. Yeah, because you're not willing to try something new. Because you're all stuck on, I gotta do what's popular, what everybody else is doing. If it's not popular to do eccentric exercises, we gotta get more phony muscles. We gotta get stronger, and we gotta get more sarcoplasmic muscles. We have to do all the popular exercises that everybody else is doing in the gym. Get it? We can't get sore. Don't get sore. That's a bad thing, bro. Don't get pain. No, man, you gotta get pumped. You gotta get the pump. You gotta feel pleasure when you lift. I thought in gyms you're supposed to no pain, no gain. Oh, I know. You gotta feel pleasure when you go to the gym. You gotta feel the pump, pleasure. It's gotta be fun. It's gotta be fun, gotta be pleasurous. I gotta be a fitness slave, wear the best outfit, look cool in there when I come in there and all that, I gotta throw the weights like everybody else up in the air. I gotta pick up the heaviest dumbbells so I can throw them up in the air and pretend I'm strong. You understand me, man? People are fucking crazy, insane, man. Lifting slaves.
The same thing. I mean, this is very effective if you want your 10 sets. And if you train pretty hard and everything gets 10 sets, 10 quality sets, most people are going to grow very long term on that. And they're probably not.
Most people are going to grow on 10 sets. You're not going to grow if you're not eating any food. You're not going to grow anything. Not even sarcoplasmic if you ain't eating.
Not going to overtrain or have real volume issues. If you're overtraining on 10 sets a week, there's something very, very...
No muscle can build, no weight can build a muscle, and it definitely ain't going to build anything on your 3 meals a day, okay? Your regular meals in McDonald's.
Very wrong. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative.
Thank God, man. No, it was informative. But I'll see you in the next one. Tell us what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Comment down below. Helps with the algorithm. I'll see you in the next one, man. Like I said, this is just more bullshit of Jason Blaha. Training volume required to make great gains for most lifters. Yes, sarcoplasmic, like I showed you there. See you in the next one. Ciao, friends.